Hi there. I'm Karen Luniw of KarenLuniw.com, thelawofattractioncenter.com, and businessattractioncenter.com. I'm so glad you are here with me today. What we're going to be doing is wrapping up and closing out 2010. And how I'm going to do that is by going through my top 10 Law of Attraction tips for 2010. And I'm so glad that you're here joining me. And you know what? It doesn't matter if you are joining me later in 2010 or sometime far off in the future. It doesn't matter. Stay with me because I'm going to go through these tips and give you little bits of extra information. But first of all, what I want to do is really thank all of you who I have had the distinct pleasure of talking to this year, of getting your emails, and those of you who've just been faithfully just listening to me, watching me, reading my tips letters on an ongoing basis. You know, really some of you for years now. I'm really so glad that you're here. And thanks. I'm hoping you're going to follow me into 2010. So the first question I want to really ask you is, do you want more from your life? If you do, keep on listening. If you don't, if you're just absolutely happy where you're at, you know what? Don't waste your time. Turn off the video. We're done. If you're doing that, great. I am so pleased for you. You know, call me anyways or send me an email because I love to hear stories about how people are doing and how they've gotten to this place. They're just great success stories. But for those of you who actually want to move on and take those next steps forward, hang in there and stay with me today. I'm really looking forward to it. So here's the top 10 tips of 2010. So bear with me. I actually have to read through them because I don't, you know, I want to share with you actually, these tips are the things that I'm sharing with my coaching clients on a consistent basis. So these are the things that we're going through as we're meeting. And while I don't, you know, remember them tip by tip by tip, these are the things that I see that are making the absolute difference in people's lives. And in my life too. Anything that I'm sharing with you, I've tried out on myself too, and I know it works. So let's go forward. So my top 10 tips for 2010. What would you do if you knew you could do anything? The fact is that most of us don't operate that way. We do what we think we can do, not what we think we could do if we could do anything. Anything. And I want you to start thinking about that. Even though we're wrapping up 2010, as we move into 2011, I want you to think more like that. Start thinking more in possibilities as opposed to limits. When we start to limit ourselves, we really miss out on the magic of life. Tip number 2. Who would you have to be to live the life of your dreams? The thing is that in order to live the life of our dreams, if we're not living it right now, it usually means that we have to shift something. We have to do something different. We have to shift our mindset. We have to think differently about who we are. So who would you have to be? Tip number 3. Did you ask for abundance daily? So many people that I talked to this year were just getting by, you know, with little or nothing, just eking by. What you need to do is you need to believe in something bigger. You need to believe in abundance. It is here now. And so that abundance that you're asking for, I know it doesn't seem, sometimes if you've gone through, you know, some tough years, like the last couple of years have been for some people, what ends up happening is that you start to lower your expectations. So I want you to actually get out of that lowering your expectations and start imagining something bigger. Start asking for abundance daily. And this is abundance in all kinds of areas of your life. It could be money, relationships, business, jobs, whatever it is. Ask for that abundance. Step number 4. Did you let the hows stop you? So you know what? When people start dreaming big and start thinking about what they really like to have in their life, the first question that comes up is, well, how am I going to do that? I don't know how to do that, so I can't do that, and it stops them. Don't let that happen anymore. The hows are none of your business. You just need to be making a decision to move forward. And then what ends up happening is like that Indiana Jones movie is you step out in faith and the bridge appears, the way appears. And honestly, it happens that way. It happens like that every time. But you have to make that decision. And that decision is just in stepping out. So forget about the hows. Don't let that stop you. All right. Step number 5. Did you make it harder than it needs to be? And when I say, did you make it harder, is really honestly for most of the things that we want to be achieving and doing in our daily life and going towards the goals, we think it's going to be way harder than it really needs to be, when it really can be easier. So check in with yourself. Am I making this harder than it needs to be? It probably doesn't. You don't have to be the expert. You don't have to be perfect at it. You just need to start. So don't make it harder than it needs to be. Just go. Just take action. Just start moving forward. And, you know, again, more of the way will appear. And you'll just see all of a sudden you're getting in a flow. You know what it's like to be in a flow. That's how you do it, is actually by just getting rid of those hows. Start taking action. Start moving beyond. All right. Tip number 6. What are you avoiding? I can honestly tell you that this tip alone keeps people from the life they deserve, because they are avoiding the way. They keep asking. It's like, okay, you know, I'm asking you, universe, I'm asking you, God, I'm asking you, source energy, I'm asking for that assistance, asking for that guidance. They get it, and then they don't do it. Hey, I'm guilty of it too. So what I always recommend when I'm doing talks out in the community, talking to businesses and at events, I often bring this up. And the question is, or the statement really is, at any given time, all of us are avoiding at least 3 things. 3 things in our life that would make a huge difference if we did them. So what are those 3 things? And start making an action plan on how you can start moving towards that and out of it today. So what are you avoiding? Take action. Tip number 7. Did you get rid of your story this year? We all have a story. We have a story about why we're successful, and we have a story about why we're not successful. And I can tell you very clearly again that it is your story about why you feel you haven't been successful at something that's holding you back. So we can be blaming this on, oh, I'm too short, I'm too fat, I'm too old, I'm too young. You know, I came from a bad family, I didn't get the perks. You know, my husband beat me, my wife, you know, was mean to me, my brothers, blah, 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 on and on and on. And, you know, it's not that I don't have sympathy. And it's not that I am belittling that, because I'm not. We all have our stories. Again, me included. The fact is, if you want to move forward, you have to get tired of your story. So get rid of your story. Start thinking again in terms of possibilities, not what always has been. There's a great quote from Anthony Robbins: the past does not equal the future. So your story is no longer valid. If your story was no longer valid, what would that mean to your life? Tip number 8. What you hold on to the most is what you need to get rid of the most, or start to let go of. So when we hold on to things, ideas mostly, mindset, way things have always been done, that stops us from growing. So again, what we hold most dearest sometimes are the things that hold us back. So again, start looking at that. Is there a way that I can eliminate this? Is there a way that I can choose to look at my situation differently? Is there something, if I just let this go, and if I stop taking responsibility for this, could that make a difference in my life? So think about that. All right. Tip number 9. Did you use better words? You know, it isn't necessarily always just about the words. It's about the feeling of the words. It's about the meaning of the words to us. But it starts when I start working with my coaching clients. That's the first thing I'm looking for, is how are they speaking about their circumstances? What words are they using? Because their words alone can lead, that can just be the guidepost right into the thing that they need to shift most. So were you using better words? Were you using better words about yourself? Were you using better words about your circumstances? Were you describing things in a better way? Were you describing your financial your financial circumstances in a better way? Were you describing your love life in a better way? Were you describing your family life in a better way? Just starting to shift those words and starting to feel differently about your circumstances, again, will start to shift everything. Okay? All right. And last but not least, number 10. I should have a drum roll. Did your outer world match your inner world? And you know what? Even before I ask that question, I'm going to answer it. And I'm going to tell you that, yes, in fact, it did. So if your outer world right now, everything that you've got going on around you is not to your liking, it means you need to shift your inner world. Now, you may have seen in behind here that I have had some specific words: shift, shine, grow, or grow your bottom line. And that is going to be my focus for 2011. Shift, which I mean shift your mindset. Shine, which means let your light shine. Let who you are come out and be who you are really truly meant to be and live the life that you really deserve. So shift your mindset, shine, just let yourself shine, and grow. And often when we do those two things, shift and shine, our bottom line grows. We start reaping the abundance. And I'm not just, again, when I say bottom line, I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about everything. Everything starts to grow. It grows our bottom line. Everything starts to shift. We start to see all kinds of different abundance come into our life. So that's really what I want to see for you this next year. Again, as I mentioned at the very beginning, I have been experiencing, along with my clients and people who have been talking to, just randomly, who have been following me or following attraction principles, and also the people who have been following my podcasts and my tips letters, I've seen and experienced some amazing shifts this year for these people. And I know that's available for you too. So as we go into the new year, I just want to make sure that I can do what I can to help make you shine. My focus for 2011 and beyond is helping you to let your light shine and leveraging your brilliance. What you already have now in your possession. Not something you have to go out and get, but something that you already have right between your ears and right from your heart. And that really is my specialty, is starting to help people to do that. So play with me for a moment. What I would like you to do is I would like you to pick one thing that you would really like to change by this time next year. So pick that one thing, and I want you to imagine for a moment, just close your eyes, and I want you to imagine what it would be like to be experiencing that thing in your life, something you'd like to have, be, or do. What would it be like? Who would be there? Who would you be sharing it with? What would you be saying? What would they be saying? You know, where are you when you're doing this, when you're experiencing this? Who else is there? What's the temperature? You know, how do you feel? How does your body feel? Are you excited? Are you, nervous in anticipation? Get into that feeling state. What does it really feel like? What other things are going on for you? I want you to really feel it. Really, really feel it. Okay? Now just get into that state for a moment and stay there. Now what you should be feeling at this moment, if you've really allowed yourself to do that, is to be experiencing some real excitement, some real joy, real happiness. Just like, wow, this is so fantastic. That's where you want to get to. That's what you want to be feeling. Excuse me. The more that you can feel that, the faster it's coming to you. Now, isn't that exciting? So you know what? I know if you keep doing this, if you keep believing, if you keep doing that visualization, that feeling exercise, what you want will start to come into your life even more and faster. And so by this time next year, you could be experiencing the exact thing that you just thought of. How exciting would that be? Yeah, I know. This is amazing. It's so exciting. So let's make it happen, okay? Now on January 1st, I'm going to be doing 2 calls. One where I'm going to be introducing my top 10 tips, my top 10 attraction tips for 2011, and the second call is going to be revealing my top 10 tips, my top 10 business attraction tips for 2011. And so I'm going to be doing these in 2 calls. I'm going to be going over similarly but in more depth than what I just did today, because we'll have a full hour to do this. I'm going to be going over this in the call on the 2 calls on January 1st. So just watch your screen, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sending you to a page. It's probably going to be karenluniw.com/2011 and probably .htm or HTML. So again, just watch for it, and we'll have that all straightened out. And so please come join me. We're going to have a ton of fun. And again, it's going to be a great call, 1 hour long for each of the calls. One is just general attraction tips. We'll be revealing my top 10 2011 tips. And business attraction, I will be doing a top 10 business attraction tips for 2011. And I really hope you'll join me. We're going to, again, it's going to be great information. It's going to be different things, different tips than what I shared with you, both in 2009 and then last year also, and what I just covered. And we're going to have a great time. So again, come join me, and just watch for the information at the end of this call, or at the end of this video. All right, thanks again for joining me. Have a great holiday season. And if it's not the holiday season when you're seeing this, just have a fabulous day. Again, I'm so glad that you took the time with me today to listen in. Thanks again. Bye-bye.